In the early states of Malcolm X's life, he was involved in the drug and gambling business. Malcolm X would have gambling sessions that he hosted as well as marijuana business he was involved in. Malcolm X was also involved in many different crimes, which caused him to have a violent early life. During his early life, he also committed armed burglary and thievery, which caused him to go to jail. In jail, Malcolm X was influenced by his inmate and decided to join in the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X supported the idea of separating the black community with the use of self-defense. Malcolm X's philosophy was that African Americans should win their freedom by any means. This also implied the use of violence. Malcolm X was also opposed Martin Luther King Jr.'s philosophy, and he thought that MLK's philosophy was a philosophy of a fool. While Martin Luther King Jr. was leading the civil rights movement, he thought that the African Americans should win their freedom through nonviolence means. Many people were afraid of Malcolm X's philosophy because he was violent in the sense that he thought African Americans should use arms to defend themselves from white hostility. Malcolm X advocated black pride through a totally different set of lens. Malcolm X wanted to totally separate the African Americans from the whites. Malcolm X believed that the African Americans will never achieve equality in a society dominated by whites. This caused Malcolm X to have a totally different philosophy from Martin Luther King Jr. Malcolm X encouraged the African Americans to fight back against the whites with guns. Malcolm X told African Americans that they should form their own society instead of trying to integrate with the white dominant society. He also preached about pride and black power while preaching about violence. In conclusion, Malcolm X was an extremely influential leader, but he was controversial in the sense that he preached about black freedom through violent means. Malcolm X is considered an influential leader today because before his reign, African Americans were segregated from restrooms, water fountains, buses, and many more. With the help of Malcolm X and many different civil rights organizations, the Voting Rights Act was passed in the U.S. and restored equal voting rights to all citizens in 1965. Malcolm X's ideas continued the civil rights movement with his focus on reconnecting African Americans with their heritage. Lastly, Malcolm X was considered controversial because he influenced the civil rights movement tremendously, but he also advocated black power through violence. One last influential speech delivered by Malcolm X in 1964 was the Ballot or the Bullet. It was delivered in Detroit and it warned politicians. If they failed to recognize the African Americans' needs, they would take matter into their own hands and raise violence. They were tired of being in second class, and they didn't care what was against them. They were tired of the false promises made by whites. Unless the political system took a change, they wouldn't use votes, they would use guns.